So Year 3, today we're going to make a skin tone palette like this. And what we're aiming to do is make as many different skin tones as we can. We're starting with a peachy colour up here and we're gradually getting darker and darker, okay? Now, the aim of the lesson is hopefully to try and create a whole palette of colours. So we start from a very, very fair skin type to going through until it turns to a very, very dark skin type. Okay? Now, to do this, you will need a lot, quite a lot today, of red, white, yellow, green and blue. These are the basic colours that we use to mix skin tones. And also you will need a water pot, plenty of tissue and quite a medium thick brush. Okay, so everyone now has a sketchbook, so I'd like everyone to be using their sketchbooks for their work, and we're going to turn to the next clean page. Okay, so I want to use not this side but this side, and I'm just going to fold my book over you just so I have more room to work. Okay, then I'm going to fold my page in half and I'm going to put a different skin tone, just a line of each skin tone. I'm going to work down one side and then I'm going to work down the other side. Okay, so we're going to mix up quite a lot of paint. So let's get going. So I'm going to keep one of the tissues in my hand so that I'm always ready to clean my brush, okay? So first of all, we're going to make the peachy skin. We're going to work from this very light skin all the way up to this very dark skin. So the first thing I need to do is take plenty of white into my mixing palette. So I'm going to turn my palette of paint round and just add lots and lots of white to that palette. I'm just trying to avoid all the drips, but lots and lots, because we're going to be making a lot of different colours, so we need a lot of paint for the base of those colours. Okay, so keep scooping. We're going to make all our colours from this base colour. A base colour is the colour that you use as the first colour, and you use it to mix all the other colours. So we need plenty of white paint. It may be easier for you to use a spoon to scoop that into your palette, just maybe quicker. So I've got plenty of white in there, because there's always a possibility that you might run out of the skin tone you mix. And when you're painting a picture, you really don't want to do that. You want to keep the colour the same. Okay, now to that white paint, I'm going to add a tiny amount of red paint. So I'm going to wash my brush on the bottom, stroke it on the side, wipe it with my tissue and check that there's no colour left in the brush. And I'm just going to add a tiny spot of red to this mix. And I'm going to make sure I mix it right the way through the paint. Now, can you see that it is turning a pink colour? Now, if I just use my piece of test paper, this is a test paper to try out my colours. Now, that is far too pink for a skin colour. So what I'm going to do is to the white and the tiny bit of red, I'm going to add yellow. So I'm going to wash my brush, stroke it on the side, wipe, check, and then add just a small amount of yellow, a little bit more than the red. And when I mix it all the way through the paint, it begins to turn a peachy colour. So I'm going to wipe my brush on the side. I'm going to test it on my test paper, and this is looking more realistic. This is looking more like a skin tone. I'd say it's probably this skin tone here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this as my first skin colour. I'm going to on my book. And what you might want to do is underneath, you might want to write down the colours you use. So white, tiny red, and small yellow. That just reminds you how you mix that colour, okay? Right, now we're going to start to make even darker skin tones. And we're going to do this by mixing a brown colour. Now, to mix brown, we need green and red. So I'm going to wash my brush, stroke it on the side, wipe, check. So I'm going to, in this space here, I'm going to mix green and red. Plenty, because we're going to need a lot of this brown colour. So lots, scoop lots out. Lots and lots. And remember, use a spoon if you have one, so then you can scoop quickly. Okay. And in fact, I'm going to wipe it on the side, clean my brush, stroke it on the side and wipe. Check that there's no colour on your brush and we're good to go. Right, so now I'm ready to add my green, and just to save me time, I'm going to use a spoon to add this green to the red. Okay, there we go. There we are. I'm going to put that into there, and then I'm going to mix the two colours together. And you can see that as I mix them thoroughly together, so that there's no two colours left. It just becomes a brown, so you need to get right into the corners. Okay, and there's my brown colour. Okay, and so if you look at this colour, well, yes, we could say that that was maybe one of the dark colours of skin. So I might just want to do a strip of brown, and remember I made that by adding red and green together. Okay, now we're going to do a scale. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a tiny bit of brown into the, oh no, first of all, I'm going to add, we're going to come back to this colour later, so I want to just scoop most of the colour into another part of my palette, because we're going to use this to make a scale. And this is what I mean. So I'm going to wash my brush, stroke it on the side, take my tissue, clean and check. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a scale of different colours going up from light to dark. So I'm going to just add a tiny bit of brown into the peach colour and mix. And when I mix, it makes a slightly darker tone. So I'm going to wipe it on the side, check it on my test paper. Yes, I'm happy with that. It's beginning to get darker. And so this is, I'm going to do a scale. A scale is when you get gradually darker. So my scale is going to be peach plus brown. Okay, and it's going to get gradually darker and darker. So now I'm going to clean my brush, stroke it on the side, wipe, check, and I'm going to add another scoop of brown into my peach colour. And again, make sure everything is mixed, stroke it on the side, and you can see that the colour is gradually getting darker. I'm going to keep going until you have made it as dark as you possibly can just by using the peach colour and the brown. Okay, and can you see it's getting darker and darker? I'm going to leave you to keep going. I think you could probably create 4 or 5 different tones using the peach and the brown. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the peach colour again. Oh no, sorry, we're going to use this peach. Yes, sorry, we're going to use the peach colour again. And to the peach colour, we're going to add just a tiny bit of blue. And let's see what happens when we add that tiny bit of blue. Sorry, let's see what happens when we add just a tiny bit of blue to that skin colour. There we go. Can you see it's getting darker? What if I add just a tiny bit more? We have a different shade of skin tone, and I want you to try out making a few of those. Okay, so you're adding blue and the peach and brown skin tone from earlier, so let me put that. So peach, brown and blue, and I'm going to put scale. So a scale is when you get gradually move gradually from lighter to darker. Okay, the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wash my brush again, stroke it on the side, wipe, check. The final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself just a little bit more of the peach colour. So I'm going to take the last of my white and put it into here. I think maybe I need to add just a little bit more, so I'm going to squeeze out some more white. I'm going to mix up a little bit of the red with the white. I'm then going to add the brown. And a little bit of yellow. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up the peach colour and the brown again, so that I can then add a different colour. So to make the peach colour, I need to add, I will do it here, I've mixed white, I mix a tiny drop of red to make the pink colour, which is too pink for the skin colour. Then, to make peach, remember, I clean my brush, I stroke it on the side, and I wipe my brush, and I add a small amount of yellow. This, if you remember, makes peach. And then, to make those darker skin tones, I need to add a bit of brown, okay? And in fact, that's made another skin tone which I haven't got on my book, so I'm going to add that. And you can write underneath what that skin tone is, okay? The next thing I want you to do, just to try out, is to add this time, not blue, but to this mixture, a little bit of green. And this again changes the skin tone colour, and I want you to add that to your book. And there we have it. So we have here peach, brown and green. And now if you notice on this page today, I've done some much lighter colours than I did when I was trying it out earlier. I used exactly the same colours to mix the paints, but I used different amounts. So it shows you how possible it is to make a whole range of skin tones. And I want to see how many different skin tones you can make today, and the variety, the range you can make, okay? And we will be using this to paint a portrait next week. Good luck, Year 3.